And so, our agenda today, we're excited to share with you something that has been a long time coming. It's an improved export routine. And so, we'll be demonstrating that in just a moment. We also have the H5P preview in PDFs is now finally live for everybody. We'll talk a little bit about some changes that we're making to improve end user support as new people come into Pressbooks. Some updates around LTI, LMS integration, and Pressbooks results. We have a few improvements around book look and feel, little things, but we know there are things that can be really annoying that we've been able to address. And then a preview of some things that are coming soon. We've got a few client and research opportunities that we'll want to make sure you're aware of, and then webinars, events, and so forth. And hopefully we'll have time for at least a few minutes of community roundtable to hear what you guys are doing. So with that, we'll start with book exports. So Pressbooks for a long time has had a very aging and kind of rickety export routine when you're trying to download PDFs or EPUBs or other formats out of the books that you've done in Pressbooks. Sometimes large exports would display timeout messages even while they were still running. It really was kind of a black box thing. You would request the export and then there was no visibility. Maybe it would come, maybe it wouldn't. We know this has been painful for a long time. And so we have refactored the export routine for reliability and for efficiency and also for visibility. So we've done a design so that it will work really efficiently without overwhelming the servers. That was one of the problems that we had, especially for large books, and that would often cause the exports to fail. And then there's also some nice UI improvements. And so we are going to show you what this looks like. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I think Oz was our lead developer on this. So Linda Miles agreed to be our guinea pig here. So if you could share your screen, Linda, and then Oz, why don't you go ahead and take over?
Yeah, sure.
I'm just double checking that we have the recording on paused.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Okay, great.
is. It's recording.
All right. So thank you, Linda, for helping us with this. So the thing that you can notice here in our new export routine is like if you go to export page, just one question, does this book has like H5P activities?
It has many,
All
many,
right,
many.
that's perfect. All right, so one of the things that we added here is like we work with BC Campus to integrate H5P activities in PDF exports. Before we used to have just like a little box, a fallback mechanism to display like a link to the H5P activities. But now we added a feature that embed the actual H5P activity in all of the formats that we support. So now try to perform an export. Before we used to have like a limit. You only can export like three at the time. And also we had a 3 minutes window to perform the export. So if the book was very huge or like it was a large book, it probably could fail. So now you can try any amount that you want. And also, one interesting thing is like you can leave the page if you want, because now it's kind of like a different process. So just trigger your export. So now you will see the page. It will be like automatically start working as soon our new queue process pick up the exports, and it will refresh below your page. If you scroll a little bit, you will see like the progress there. But also you can leave the page if you want, and it's gonna like retake the progress where it was. So this is like nice improvement that you can leave the page, you can go somewhere else, and then you can return back to the export page, and it's gonna have like your export working. So yeah, that was it. So it worked. It was cool. But what if you open your export, please, you will see like you have like in the H5P activities, you will see like the fallback box that we used to show when we have H5P activities.
Yeah, that's a good example there.
Yes. Exactly. So if we try, but maybe you want those activities to be printed there. So that's the thing that you now can enable because by default it's not enabled because it's kind of like expensive process. So, but if you want to have those H5P activities embed into the PDF, you need to activate a new option that you can. Could you return to Pressbooks, please? And now go to settings and export, please. And you will find a new checkbox there that enable H5P static representation. Exactly. So now you can go to the export and you can try to export that thing again. So probably this time it's gonna take a little bit more because it's like expensive process to try to export all of those images and stuff. But I think it's a good opportunity to leave the page, to go to somewhere else, and then to return back to this. No, you can in this same window. You don't need to have the window open. That's the good thing. So now you can leave the page here. You can go to my books or somewhere else or the dashboard or yeah, and if you return back to export, you're gonna see like a, just give it a minute. It's that the same book? No, right?
Oh, no, not the same book.
Yeah.
All right, let me, oops.
Yeah, it's still processing. It's usually like when it has a lot of H5P activities, it could take a couple of minutes because it's, as we said, it's expensive process. But the thing is like it's not gonna fail, I hope. So so yeah, it's we just need to wait. I don't know if we want to talk about this a little bit. I don't know if someone wants to add something else here.
Are there any questions for Oz on this?
So you would need to enable it in each book, correct?
Yes. Yes, at the moment, yes. If you want to have the H5P activities printed, yes. I think Christopher has some input.
Christopher?
And one other thing too, because this impacts all of our users, including open source users, we have two scripts that actually do the background processing. There was a question asked about it in the forum by Ed Beck, and in the response, we pointed to where the scripts are. We're in the process of just finishing up that documentation, so we will have that available as well. If anyone in the open source world has any questions or concerns about how to run this, please do ping me. I would love to give a hand there.
Thank you. So just updating a couple of questions in chat. So Jamie asks, can you close completely out of Pressbooks while it's working, or do you need to at least keep Pressbooks open? And you can close out of Pressbooks completely. So you can start your export. If it's a big book with a lot of H5P activities, you can go get lunch and then come back and you're good. Cheryl's asking, where is the checkbox to enable printing H5P activities? It's in the book dashboard. Go to settings and then export. And then John has a good clarification. Ozza said it's an expensive process. This means that it's resource intensive from a computing power perspective. So there is not added cost to you to do this. It's not expensive for you. This is part of just what Pressbooks does, but it's the way that we're kind of metering and putting checks on things on our end, so we're not overwhelming servers. We're not, and we're making sure that people really want that when they do it instead of just having that be the default. Okay. Any other questions on that? All right. I think we want to keep going. Linda, we'll come back and check on the success of this
Yeah,
export in a little bit.
totally. Yes.
Um, all right, but thank you. Any other questions on that before we go on? All right.
Yeah, I think just to, I see a question that can you close completely the Pressbooks interface like the window? Yeah, you can. You can leave the Pressbook. You can even like log out and it's still gonna be processed.
All right. Excellent. Thank you so much, Oz, and thank you to the team that worked on that. We're delighted to get that over the finish line. Okay, we also just wanted to mention that H5P preview, which we may, if we have time, we'll excuse me, come back to Linda and have her show that when that book export is ready. But it shows a static view of the H5P activities. There is documentation on this now, and I want to have a shout out to BC Campus, which funded this as an open source contribution. So it is available to both open source Pressbooks users as well as now all of our software as a service users. So any other questions on that? And we will actually, I need to make sure I can see my chat window went away. Okay. All right. Yeah, this is one more thing. And Cheryl, to your question, how do you make sure that this turns on? So it is in the export settings for the book. There's that checkbox so that you can mark it. And then it looks something like this. Okay. End user support. Steele, I think you're going to talk about this.
Yeah, this is pretty exciting. So if you've been a Pressbooks user, you've known that you can invite new users to your network. And when it happens, you get probably the most exciting email they've ever read. You have an account that's been activated at this. Click this link to activate your account. It's very transactional. It's good. It helps people get in, and then they have an account. And that's it. Historically, that was it. You got that transactional email, and then the new user logged into Pressbooks or didn't, figured out how to use Pressbooks or didn't, and they were kind of on their own. We've tried to improve like the navigation wayfinding for new users to make the dashboard cleaner and clearer. But one thing that we historically had never done was send them a welcome to Pressbooks orientation email. And now we are. So we're now sending welcome messages to new users on all of our enterprise networks. The emails are going to orient them to Pressbooks and include some getting started resources. So if you go to the next slide, Julie, this is just a screenshot that shows an example of what that email looks like and includes. Basically, it welcomes them, says, we're glad you're here. We link to the Getting Started with Pressbooks playlist. That's several videos for beginning users. We link to the user guide, and then we let them know that there are free live training webinars that are offered every month. And if they'd like to, they could also subscribe to a newsletter for end users to get updates, but that's optional. So that goes out, and that is going out to all new users on enterprise networks now. And it's just a simple welcome message that helps hopefully help them find the resources that they prefer to interact with as they get started or ignore. So we are pleased that this is happening, and we hope that it's going to help new users get started more quickly and find what they want to find and use Pressbooks the way they want to use it. Any questions for us about that and details about that?
All right. Thank you. We'll keep going. Let's see. This next one, I think Thomas, you're going to speak to this one.
Yeah, I can talk about this one. So previously, in the Pressbooks results viewer, there's a drop-down menu with different assignments that you can view the scores of.
Can
And
you show the picture, Thomas?
yes, actually, that'd be great. So on the left is how it used to appear. And as you can see, the order on the left makes no sense. The reason for that is because it was actually only determined by which assignments were opened first by any user in a particular LMS course. So obviously that led to bewildering sequences of assignments there. Now what we're doing instead of that is we're having the assignments ordered sequentially in the order they appear within the book they're drawn from. And if you draw from multiple books in your LMS course, then the books are sequenced alphabetically by title. And within those, everything is in order. So the order now will be much easier to navigate.
Yeah, this was a major pain point for the instructors who got annoyed with having to dig around for their assignments. And so we're glad to add that usability improvement. Any questions? All right, we'll keep going. You want to talk about the deep linking user interface, Thomas?
Yeah, this is we resolved an accessibility issue here with the content selector for bringing material into a LMS course. When you bring in content, you see a view of all books that you belong to, and the chapters within those lacked an appropriately named grouping element, um, which made that content selector difficult to navigate for users using screen readers or other assistive technology. So we've improved the markup here. We're now wrapping those chapters within a field set with a visually hidden legend inside the content selector. So visually, it's identical to what it was before, but the markup is improved for uh, better accessibility here.
All right, thank you, Thomas. Questions about this from anyone? All right, we know and hear a lot about the emphasis on accessibility for all learning resources and tools and so forth. And so we're excited to be working on that ourselves as well and want to make that better for you and for your communities. All right, Thomas, we're still on. You're going to talk to us about the full screen view. And here I can stop share. Wait, are you going to demo this or are we just going to talk about it?
I could demo it as well. But I think you can keep the slide there for right now. So we have heard that uh, feedback that because we load chapters, including Pressbooks assignments, in an iframe inside of the LMS user interface, um, sometimes in some LMSs, the available space for an iframe is a bit small, and that's kind of frustrating to navigate. So what we've done, we've added a full screen view option for viewing Pressbooks chapters and assignments within the LMS. So yeah, I can screen share to show what this looks like from the student perspective. Here I'm in Canvas right now, and if I open an assignment here, there's now this full screen toggle here, and so rather than seeing all of this like the left sidebar over here and everything around it while I scroll through, I can see just the whole chapter here. And to exit this view, you can either press the toggle here, or you can press the escape button on your keyboard. Um, Distraction-free mode, yes.
Thank you, Thomas. Any questions for Thomas about that? All right. I will share my screen again. Okay. So next, a little bit more about Pressbooks results. So again, this is our grade pass back from H5P activities into the Learning Management System gradebook. I think most people who come to this meeting are aware of that. We've talked a lot about that in the past. We also just want to note we'd found some client-reported minor accessibility issues when they were testing that viewer, the Pressbooks or the Pressbooks results viewer. And so we did some improved keyboard navigation and focus indicators so that viewer, whether it's for the student or for the instructor, viewing the student grades and activities is more accessible. So we have that improvement as well. Any questions on that? All right. Let's see. Steele, I think back to you.
Yeah. So along the same vein of like outreach to end users, we have an issue where Pressbooks results is now a standard feature that's available on enterprise networks. And lots of network managers have configured Pressbooks results, but there are thousands of instructors that we know of that have created gradable H5P activities. They put them in their books. But many of these instructors don't know what Pressbooks results is or how they could use it in their courses if they wanted to get deeper insight into student learning. So we have a recently relaunched marketing website. There's a page that's dedicated to Pressbooks results now. Julie, if you're willing to open that up. I put the wrong link in. Let me go to the
Wait,
heading there on Pressbooks. I always do something wrong in these demos and look at Enterprise Pressbooks results. There we go. That's the URL I meant to put in. So this is the page that explains at the top what Pressbooks results is. And then if you scroll down this page, it explains how Pressbooks results works at a kind of a high level. And then we have some user stories or what instructors say they like about Pressbooks results. And then from a recent webinar that we did, some kind of case studies from individual instructors in a bunch of different contexts for why they use Pressbooks results and what it helps with. And then some resources for how to get started. So there's a guide chapter, there's training resources, and if you're not sure whether it's available to you or not, you could check on availability. And then there's FAQs about Pressbooks results. So this is kind of a one-stop place where people can get more informed about Pressbooks results if they'd like to use it to improve learning in their classroom. Along with that, we also know that it's summer and it's back to school soon. And this is the time that most instructors who are thinking about their summer plans are considering the plans they're making for their fall courses. So we offer a whole bunch of training webinars on a regular basis. One of them is about creating engaging learning materials, but in the August month, we're going to be offering shorter half-hour sessions where you learn how to use Pressbooks results with your specific LMS. So we've got them scheduled for all the major LMSs, and we can add more sessions if demand requires it, but we're offering Canvas, Moodle, D2L Brightspace, and Blackboard. There are dates for all of these half-hour each, and they're open to anybody who'd like to come and see how Pressbooks results works in your LMS. So in that half an hour, the audience would be an instructor who's thinking about using Pressbooks results for the first time. You probably already want to know what H5P activities are and have some in your book, but what we'll show you is how to configure a chapter for grading, how to bring it into the LMS, how to see student grades in the gradebook, and then how to understand the Pressbooks results viewer. That you'll learn that process from beginning to end in under half an hour. So if you want to use it for the first time, this is an ideal place to come and do that. Questions about that? And I see the chat's got some stuff. Let me check.
Yeah, one thing I'll note, okay, sorry, there's a couple of questions on the PDF thing, so I'll come back to that. In the past, for new instructors that wanted to use Pressbooks results, we had an interest form and we sort of wanted to know who they were so we could handhold a little bit. We're no longer requiring that and just are trying to make this very easy for folks to find and access this resource on their own. So if you have questions or you have somebody that wants to know what to do or where to go, you can certainly send them to that page. You can also send a note to support and we can provide direction and guidance, but we're trying to make this as self-service as other features in Pressbooks to a large degree. And we've worked hard on the user experience to make that possible. So any questions on that? All right.
And then in the chat, I want to know, Jen put a link if you want to see a listing of all of the upcoming results trainings. They're categorized on the webinars page on our website. And so there's a link in the chat if you want to share that or circulate that. We will be sending an email out to instructors that have lots of H5P on networks where results is activated, informing them and inviting them to the training sessions, but that's coming this week.
All right. And there was a note, Carolyn said that they've noticed a couple of issues with that new PDF export since that changed. This is good to hear. And so Thomas will be on top of that and will figure out what's going on and make sure that that is updated if it's needed. So, all right. Thank you. Next topic.
Julie, before we do, can we
Yeah.
jump back to Linda? I think Linda's export is now done.
Oh,
This
yeah.
might be a good time to do that before we look into or do you want to wait? There's only one more thing. We could do either way.
We can have Linda show right now.
Okay.
That's good. That's fine.
Okay, so this is the first H5P, which is a flashcard. So the front of the card is here on the left, flexible working arrangements, and the back of the card is on the right. And there's 15 of those cards. This is as far, I haven't looked further into the book, but so those are the 15 cards. But then we're back to this, and I don't know why.
Yeah, some H5P activities have a preview state and others don't. So if it's a complex multi-part assignment,
Okay,
preview
okay.
state,
So maybe I can find some more
like a
other
multiple
cards.
choice, or if you have a multiple choice question or a fill in the blanks, those are often good examples.
Yeah, maybe I chose the wrong book.
So I will also note, I think our documentation, so in this in the plugin that or sorry, yeah, the plugin that BC Campus funded, there are a set of PDF or sorry, H5P activities that are supported as well as some that are not, and that is in our documentation. So you can, if you look for that H5P preview in our documentation, it'll provide more information about that.
So what you're saying though is that some of the more complex types of H5P just won't work, but it doesn't have to do with whether they're on H5P has that web page that has something about supported and unsupported H5P. That's separate.
Yeah, so what we're doing is because you can't, the whole active, in many cases, the H5P activity has many different states. Screen one, screen two, screen three. And so the preview is not able to load JavaScript. So it's just loading what does the initial state of that activity look like. In the case of a multiple choice question, you absolutely want the initial state loaded because that's the actual activity. You could actually see it and do it on paper or fill in the blank. But if it's like a 17 question quiz, well, we're not going to load all 17 questions. So I think that's kind of
And there's a list of which kinds work and which kinds
which
don't.
activities will be previewed and which ones will just have the old fallback.
And where is that list?
Could you find that in the user guide and post the link, Steele?
Thomas
Sorry,
is
I didn't have the
Thomas?
best,
No, that's
the
okay.
cleanest demo.
No, this is good though. I mean, it's good to, I guess, in the expectation setting and the clarifying of here's what it is and here's what it can and here's what it can't do. All right, we'll get that. We'll get the link to that user guide page posted for you, so you've got that. All right, in the interest of time, I want to keep going. So let me share my screen again. And then Steele, I think you're going to talk about the header link colors.
This one's relatively minor, but if you go to the next slide, I'll just explain. When when you are customizing the colors for your Pressbooks network, there's a lot of things you can choose. Primary color, secondary color, accent color, etc. We've added two new choices to the Aldine menu. One lets you customize the color of the header background, and the other lets you customize the color of the header links. It's not a huge deal, but it sometimes make a difference for branding. If you want your header to have a bold primary color that's used across your institution, you can do that. And then customizing the color of the links lets those display in the appropriate accent or secondary color across your network. If you want to change that or see what that looks like, you can go into Aldine, or when you're a network manager, you adjust or customize network appearance. And so those options are available now. And have fun with your branding or your colors.
All right. Any questions for Steele about this? Okay. The next
Is
item.
this one me or no? I can't remember.
Oh, this one's me. I can
Okay,
speak
great.
to this one. Again, back to our theme around accessibility, we had a client request the ability to use a specific font that was designed by the Braille Institute for readers who have low vision in their books. And so the request was to add the Atkinson Hyperlegible Next font. And so we made this font available in webbooks and export files. And so to access it, you need to be using a book theme that has the shapeshifter feature, which is most of them. And then in the appearance and theme options, you can choose a header font and a body font, and it will give you all the list of supported fonts. And so this is the Atkinson Hyperlegible one. This is what that font actually looks like. So this is just a screenshot of, an example of that font. And then, yeah, and these are just the descriptors of what each of those figures are. So any questions about this? All right. What kind of instance you need to use? Okay, so this can be in any book as long as the theme is a theme that supports a feature called Shapeshifter. And most of our themes do support Shapeshifter. Steele, I'm looking at you. Do you want to
Yeah,
add
so
that?
basically, if you want to know whether you can, go to theme options and look at web options. If it shows you header font and body font as drop downs, you can do it. I think it's like 18 of the 21 themes do, and there's a couple old ones that don't. So if you see that font selector, you will now see the Atkinson Hyperlegible font.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so
almost all themes.
a couple of the older themes have the font locked down so that you can't change the font. And in most of the themes, you do have the option to change the font.
But they're like the terrible themes, like the Bukowski, or the ones that people never use for educational publishing. They're like the ones for children's books or something. Not that they're terrible, but not they're the ones that you're going to be using.
Okay. All right. Any questions on that one? Okay. A few things for coming soon. So first off, we are excited to let you know that we have plans to integrate editorially as a supported accessibility checker solution. Our current plan is to have basically a level one feature that is a builder tool for authors to be able to use to check accessibility as they're building content or editing their content. And we hope to have that available for people to start trying out and using later this summer, August, or early September, hopefully. We should have more time specificity on that in the next couple of weeks. And then there's what we are calling internally a level 2, but a second version of that feat of an accessibility checker that allows you to run a background scan on existing content. So if you wanted to run an accessibility scan on all the books on your network or some subset of them, this is a tool that would allow you to run those background scans and then have a consolidated report so you don't have to go into every book individually to do an accessibility check, or every page for that matter. We know this one's going to take a little bit more to do. It will still use editorially as the underlying technology for that. And these are going to be part of a new content checker toolkit that we're working on. It is going to be a set of add-on features. So there is additional cost to us to be able to develop and maintain and offer these. But we will have an additional cost for those folks that want to opt into those. We will have more information about that and are hoping to keep these very affordable as well. But just wanted to note that in terms of expectation setting as we go forward. Any questions on this? Okay, so stay tuned for more. Next, we also will soon have an OPDS, or Open Publication Distribution System feed. It's a feed that is used for people to discover and download electronic publications. For all of the librarians, I think this is something that would be a term that is familiar to you. We had received some requests from some of our discoverability partners and some clients who are interested in making Pressbooks books visible in some of their, I guess, their electronic resource apps or tools where people are searching for and accessing electronic materials. And so it requested this format. And so starting next week, I think, we'll have Pressbooks Directory book metadata available through an OPDS feed to our discovery partners. Lyrasis has been one of the leading ones on that, and we've got a couple of Lyrasis clients who are excited about this being able to put some of the Pressbooks titles into their systems. And so there's a question. I had a question for Christopher. So if I want an OPTS feed or want access to this, how would one get that? And so Christopher, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah. So we have this now working in a staging environment. The task is completed. It's actually going to be part of the sort of rebuild of the back end of the directory, and we expect to have that actually live next week. So when we do post it live, we will make an announcement on the forums and wherever you get your Pressbooks information as to how to access the feed. So coming very soon. Expect to hear from us by next week.
All right. Thank you, Christopher. And this is more of just a heads up. So we do plan some improvements to both the Pressbooks directory and the Pressbooks community forum. And so we have a request for all of you. If you use these tools, if you've heard about these tools or have feedback for us, for our next product update webinar in August, we want to take a few minutes to kind of open up for ideas and feedback about each of these tools as we are working on some improvements. So we'll send kind of nudges and reminders about that when we put up information for the next product update. Okay, we have a couple of active user research initiatives. So one, our client satisfaction survey, our annual survey is out now. Thank you if you've already responded to that. You should have an email message coming from Steele with an electronic survey link. So please complete that. We want to hear from you if we have not already. And by the way, I will note that the survey data has helped us prioritize improvements over the past year. It will do that again this year. Of the top several items from last year's survey, we have been able to deliver, I think most of those, if not all of those, of the top 4 or 5, or will be doing that soon. And so we really take this seriously. So please take a moment and submit that if you haven't yet. Michelle is doing research with people who are interested in the broken link checker functionality. We have some user design, I guess user experience designs that she is looking for feedback on. And so if you or someone you know might be interested, please book a research session with Michelle. And these are kind of dedicated one-on-one sessions. We do offer a monetary thank you for folks who do that. And so if you know end users who might be interested or whatever, please send them Michelle's direction. And then the third thing that we're doing, we are exploring how Pressbooks can be a helpful partner for folks that are wanting to deliver learning content with a micro-credential type learning experience. We have a prototype project that we are doing with the Maricopa Community College District in this area. We'll have more to share about that in the future. But if you or someone you know is interested, if the micro-credential space is on your radar and you want to learn more about that or talk to us more about that, about what you're hearing, what you're seeing, what you would like, I would love to have a conversation with you. And so reach out to me. All right, the last couple things in our last moment. So we have our free monthly training webinars. So those are listed for you. And that includes, as Steele mentioned, our training sessions around Pressbooks results that are LMS specific. So we're happy to be able to offer those. And then next week is the Cal OER conference. It's a virtual conference. We have a session on some of the interesting work happening across the state of California. There's some other great things on that agenda. So you might take a look at that conference if you are interested. And we are out of time for Community Roundtable this time. If anybody is dying to share or has questions, we can stay on for a moment. Oh, back to the slide with the QR code for Michelle. Here it is. And we will post these slides as well for folks, so you'll have access to those. I'll put those in the forum. Okay, any final questions or comments before we wrap up?
I think I might have missed it. Is there the link to the list of H5P that do or do not render?
Oh, we wanted to put, thank you for that reminder. Did we find that in the user guide? I know we talked about, or
No, Julie, it is not written yet.
oh, okay. I apologize. We had talked about that and said, yeah, we're going to do that. And I assumed it had been done. So
Okay.
now this surfaces the issue again. So we will hopefully fast track that and then Linda,
I think we need to coordinate with the contractor that helped do the H5P.
Yes.
Yeah.
oh, okay, that's the issue. Yeah, that's right. We need to have Oliver help us and make sure that that information is correct. Okay. We will work on that, Linda. We feel like that is important. We've identified that as a need, and in all the other stuff, it did not get over the finish line. So, but I'm glad that it raised it. It will help make this a higher profile for us to make sure that we have that correctly documented. So
Great.
apologies for that. I overspoke, but we'll have more for you. So,
Thank you so much.
all right. Any final questions or comments? All right, I will stop sharing. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate your time and your support. We always enjoy hearing from you and getting feedback, so please continue to keep that coming. So have a great rest of your day. Take care.